Hey there, hi there, hello there. It is your friendly neighborhood walk and talk chat with Miguel Trujillo here at nighttime. What is it, the 4th of January? And the sky is clear. Orion is in the sky. The winter sky is here. And there is the wonderful Orion and the Betelgeuse star in his belt. How is everybody doing today? So, I must admit, I wasn't feeling the greatest today. I did some weightlifting earlier today and changed my form on some deadlifts I was doing, and so I've got some muscles that are a little sore than usual right now, and I wasn't so happy about the prospect of going for a walk, but here I am, going for my walk. You know, here I am persisting in the face of stress. And you know, I was watching a YouTube video today with a neuroscientist who spoke about the amygdala and AMDR. And if you're only vaguely aware, EMDR is a way to unlearn stress responses for people who have trauma in their lives or anxiety in their lives, and it's a way of calming the amygdala and the nervous system and just reprogramming the mind. And this neuroscientist talked about, you know, why is it that our sideways glances, sort of a back and forth sideways glance, is effective at reducing anxiety. And apparently, that action of the eyes calms the amygdala, shuts it down. And the neuroscientist was talking about how in human development through evolution, the brain has figured out a way to reward forward movement. And it does that, it does that in a few ways, through using, I guess, dopamine, but let's see if I can get the grasp of the core of his argument. The core of his argument was that the amygdala doesn't have access to, it's not directly connected to your arms or legs, but it is connected to your vision system. And that that one way that the amygdala knows that you're moving forward is that your eyes, it notices your eyes scanning back and forth. And, and in order for the brain to reward that kind of behavior, when your eyes scan back and forth, that in itself is a reward enough and has a tendency to shut down the stress response. Which is actually kind of telling, because what I've been noticing is that walking, you know, just getting outside of the door really helps me when it comes to increasing my motivation and decreasing depression. And it also, what I've been realizing, is great for relationships. Going on a walk with your significant other is like, boy, let me tell you, it is like gangbusters. If ever you have a problem with somebody, just go for a walk and talk with them. And man, let me tell you, that any problems that you have will be resolved in moments. Not, you know, certainly you've got to use intelligence and psychology and, you know, negotiation skills and be level-headed and everything. But if you really want to just create a sense of calm partnership where you each are walking side by side, hand in hand, you know, that walking is definitely the way to do it. In fact, I think that it's probably, when it comes to relationships, I'm guessing it might be one of the main ways that a couple can enhance their relationship and stress-proof it. There's just something about walking. And you know, two people who are scanning back, excuse me, two people who are scanning with their eyes back and forth. I can imagine them having a problem. I mean, I can imagine their amygdala is turned off, and they're engaged in forward movement. They've got plenty of dopamine running in their brain, and I can imagine them feeling calm and at peace, and associating each other's presence with calm and peace. And if you're touching, so much the better. You get that oxytocin running. So you've got the dopamine hit from purposeful action moving forward, the side by side, the eyes going side by side action, shutting off the amygdala. You've got a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there to sort of reduce stress and just create a strong joint association through the oxytocin. So anyway, I really am thinking that, and you know what, let me tell you something about walking. Just walking in general. I walk for a lot of reasons. I walk because it's a very functional exercise. I walk because it gets me out of the house, and I find that I often feel better when I'm out of the house. No doubt that's that dopamine, EMDR, amygdala, stress response lowering, amygdala turning off, stress response lowering effect. But there are also other things. There's like the walking in nature, the forest effect going on, where your senses are noticing, smelling humus or humus, the humus in the soil and the plant materials, the plant chemicals. I know that there's some association with smelling that in nature walking and stress reduction. And anyway, it's kind of funny though. Maybe that's the same effect that reading has on me, because I'll tell you what, reading, when I move my eyes back and forth left to right, theoretically that should have the same effect, a very calming effect on the human nervous system. So maybe that's something I should try to maybe that is another thing that can create a calming effect. Let me tell you, here's the thing. As a human being, it's very important to have resources available that you can use to lower anxiety, because there's a ton of anxiety producing ideas in our environment. Let me tell you, our environment today in society with social media and media, it's very conducive to mental illness, because a lot of that media is focused on negative things. It's focused on anxieties and loss and depression. Notable things. These are the things that the human brain has been conditioned to pay attention to for thousands of years. And, it's just something that we somehow need. Our information, I guess it's really our information environment. Our information environment today is different than the information environment just 100 years ago, or certainly 200 years ago. Back then they might have had books and newspapers. Today, though, we've got TV and radio and internet, and maybe even before print media, there was word of mouth. If there was anything at all, I just have a feeling that things were a lot more calm 1,000 years ago. Definitely, I can say things today with 24/7 news, and the internet, and cell phones ringing my nervous system, buzzing every few minutes. Let me tell you, we as human beings definitely need resources to help us calm down, because there's a lot going on right now. Our world is moving so fast. It's really hard to pay attention to it all. So, let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Well, you know what? It's warm this evening. I'm really surprised. Here it is, January 4th, and I'm not freezing to death. I got my hat on, got my jacket, my sweater on, and I'm ready to go, but it is, thankfully, it is not that cold. I'm hoping that in the future it's going to be a lot warmer. And I don't know, actually, the colder months tend to be January and February, and even March. March can be pretty cold around here, too. I would guess the coldest months are probably, November, December, January, February. But March can be cold, too. Although it's not too bad. That's really when summer really begins to show its face here on the central coast of California. Anyway, I got something interesting. I got some new capsules, and then I got some dehydrated beets. I've always been curious about how nitric oxide and beets um, affect my exercise. I went through a period where I ate a lot of beets and a lot of arugula to get those good old nitrates in my body, and man, I'll tell you, I sure did enjoy that. So I tend to seek out beets and arugula all the time because I really like the way I feel when I eat them. I love the burst of energy that I get when I eat arugula. And I've also been noticing it that boost sometimes when I eat greens like spinach and other things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'd love to eat arugula every day, but as I've probably complained about here in this form before, it's not easy to find arugula all year round in every store. Sometimes some stores just don't carry it, or they don't carry very much of it. They only carry it in small amounts. So I was thinking about finding that a source of like beets or arugula or nitrates in foodstuffs. I want it to be in natural food, maybe dehydrated food, and I found some capsules. So maybe that'll be a route for me to get some regular vegetables and leafy greens in me. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't started taking them yet. Oh, by the way, I've been really focusing on whipped cream lately. Okay, so sometimes I've got these daydreams about food, and recently I've been dreaming about whipped cream. And I'm not quite sure where these dreams are coming from. Now, I have not been eating whipped cream. It's been a long time since I've had whipped cream. I might have had it sometime in the months of October, November, December, maybe one time. But maybe once or twice. I probably had it on a pumpkin pie or something like that. So I'm really not a whipped cream eater. But lately, I've gotten whipped cream in the past, and there's all kinds out there. There's coconut cream whipped cream, almond cream whipped cream, of course dairy cream whipped cream that's available. And like I said, I haven't really indulged lately, but I've been really interested in having more of it. I'm not sure why. Here's the thing. Whipped cream also, which I like the texture of it, but the problem for whipped cream for me is often it's just not that sweet. I tend to like sweet stuff, and in my view, a lot of whipped creams aren't sweet, even whipped creams in cakes. But recently I've been thinking about Cool Whip. I know. I haven't had Cool Whip, and oh my gosh, I can't imagine how long. And here's the thing. I don't even remember if it was any good. In fact, I think I've had my share of Cool Whip that, in my mind, it wasn't very good. And in fact, I think I can remember getting like a fat-free Cool Whip one time and maybe taking one bite of it and tossing the whole thing out. So I'm not one of those people who have had just amazing experiences with whipped cream. I've enjoyed whipped cream, and there's been some whipped creams I really like. I think I've particularly enjoyed homemade whipped creams that are, sweetened with perhaps confectioner's sugar or something like that. But Even though I enjoy whipped cream, I've had my fair share of it, I suppose, over the years. I'm not necessarily a fan. But anyway, that's not stopping me from daydreaming about it. And so, um, I don't know. I don't know if this daydream will ever come into fruition in any way. Whether the whipped cream will begin to appear somehow in my meals or in my desserts, or in my shelves, or or in my refrigerator. But I can tell you, I have been dreaming about it. It's funny how I can sort of hold in my mind this idealized vision of food, and just sort of keep it as an idealized vision. It doesn't necessarily have to come into my life, but it is kind of fun to think about and imagine, and just sort of enjoy the imagining of it. There's actually it's kind of like savoring. It's kind of like savoring, where I can savor the whipped cream. But I don't do it in my mouth. I savor the whipped cream in my mind, so I don't even have to eat the stuff, which is probably really good for my health. So anyway, I have been thinking about whipped cream lately. Why? I don't know. I'm thinking, in particular, I'm thinking about pairing whipped cream with maybe a fruit, like whipped cream and peaches. Come on, now that sounds pretty good. I mean, if from an idealistic standpoint, whipped cream and peaches sound great, or maybe whipped cream and strawberries. Now, I've actually had whipped cream and strawberries at a few times, and let me tell you, sometimes it's underwhelming. And so, I don't know. Like I said, I think these are idealized. I have idealized visions of what these foods are and what they taste like. Anyway, that's something that's been on my mind lately. Whipped cream. And let's see what else. I've been losing weight, believe it or not, pretty effectively. I've been, like I've mentioned in the past, I've been trying to bulk and cut. And what I'm finding is that I can bulk and cut on a dime. I've just become that good at it that I can lose weight. Actually, I can lose weight super easy now. I can easily lose a half a pound a day just by doing a buttload of cardio and exercising at the gym and keeping my intake, my eating under control, which is not hard. I have high levels of self-control, except for tonight. I won't even let you know what I ate tonight. But in the last 2 weeks or so, having one meal where I flub and mess up, that's not too bad. Have one meal in 2 weeks, just go south. But, I'm pretty impressed at the level of self-control I have with the food that I eat. And so, this cutting, bulking, what I'm discovering is that whether I'm cutting or bulking actually doesn't necessarily help my weightlifting lifts in the gym. I'm thinking I probably get maybe a 10% improvement in my workout performance when I'm bulking. And I don't seem to have any losses necessarily when I'm cutting, except when I'm cutting and I'm actually very lightweight, like when I'm down in the low 140s or maybe with the high 130s, then I'm noticing that my weights are coming down, my lifts are coming down. But if I'm like in the mid 140s, high 140s or 150s or mid 150s, and I'm cutting, I continually get stronger every time I'm in the gym. I'm always adding weight to the plates, 5 pounds here, 10 pounds here. And it doesn't matter whether I'm cutting or bulking, I'll be making progress on my lifts in the gym. So that's great news. And here's the thing. I really started cutting and bulking because I wanted to figure out a way to, first of all, I wanted to get good at it, because getting good at that kind of process is really good, just from my perspective as a weightlifter, because I want to be able to cut and bulk anytime I want. So it's a really good skill to have. But I was hoping that it would put a little bit more muscle mass on my body. Surely while I was bulking, maybe my lifts would get really, really great. You know, I'd make some huge progress on my lifts. But I'm actually not finding that to be the case. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.